Hi guys, this is Rodney with Cheaper's Outpost. Today I'm going to show you how to replace those tired old conventional fog lights with some new LED lights. If you'll notice, I'm still running the stock fog lights that came on my 2001 Jeep TJ. Over time they have become kind of hazy and one actually has a crack in it. These bulbs can be replaced, but honestly the replacement's a little bit expensive and they aren't that efficient anymore. With the LED technology becoming less and less expensive, LED is the way to go. It's going to give us more light and it's going to use less energy doing that. For today's swap, I will be using the existing wiring, so this will not be a wiring nightmare. We'll just simply wire to the current wiring. You'll use the same switch. This is going to be an easy swap and I'm going to show you how to do it. The product that I chose for my replacement is a 6-inch LED night light. Purchased it from Amazon for less than $25. If you'll notice, if you look real close, the way the lenses are designed in here, this is a fog light. Be careful when you order these things because they do come in a spotlight. You will not be able to run that spotlight on the highway. These are fog lights. They kind of disperse the light a little bit more with that lens there. So we will be able to run that just like we do our stock fog lights. First thing we need to do is get the old fog lights out of the way. To do that, I'm going to be using a 13mm socket and a 3/8 drive ratchet. You can also do this with a 13mm wrench if you need to. Now, as you see, bolt right down there that we'll be getting out. Before we do that, we need to disconnect the wiring. Right here inside the inner fender, you will see there's a little grommet that holds this connector in place. Just kind of pry that out of there. Right here is a little button that you'll have to depress. You depress this and you'll be able to get these two wires to separate. Just like that. So we got it separated. Now let's get this bolt out of here. So it didn't take much to loosen that up and do the rest of it with my thumb and index finger. Just that quick is off. We'll remove the other side exactly the same way, again using the 13mm socket and ratchet. What we're doing next is we're going to connect the old stock connector to our new LED lights. If you notice on these, it's hard to see from this picture here, but the cords are just about as long. In fact, the LED light has a little bit longer cord. For that reason, I'm going to use as short a piece of this as I can and actually wire it up effectively. And you'll notice I've cut it probably 2.5 inches. That's what I left here. I also want to point out, I'm going to tell you this several times, so forgive the repetitiveness, but I just don't want you to mess up. The black in this case is the ground, the blue is the positive. And over here on our new ones, the red, of course, is the positive and the black is the negative or the ground. Now what I'm doing is stripping back this wire, and I'm stripping it back. I've just got some wire strippers here. I'm stripping it back about 3/4 to 1 inch. Now, before I twist and solder these things together, I've cut some heat shrink tubing. So I'll just slide that over the ends. Make sure you get that in place before you solder it. Otherwise you'll have to take it apart and do it again. Alright guys, next we're gonna twist these wires together. Like I said, the black will go to black in this case. And in this case the blue will go to the red. Just like that. Now that I got my wires twisted together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some flux on here. And flux can be purchased inexpensively at any hardware store or electronic store for that matter. I'm just putting it on with a little paintbrush. This will help the solder cover all the wire for us. Now you'll need some solder, and you'll need some sort of soldering iron. And if you see that mine's not really even a soldering iron, mine is a wood burning tool that I got, but it does the job. Now, you don't have to be an expert at soldering. I'm certainly not. You just have to get the surface hot that you're working on. You, of course, don't want to get it too hot to melt your insulation. See if we can get a little more solder on there. The solder will ensure a good connection. Same thing with the other one. I'm just catching a little solder here on the iron. Then I'll just rub it across the flux core and it seals down with no trouble. Wire's nice and tight. That's all it is to it. Stop. Alright guys, next thing we're going to do, we're going to take that heat shrink tubing that we had. We're going to slide it down over our splice. Slide it on there. And you can do this with a cigarette lighter. It's always safer to use. I use a heat gun. And that's it. It's wired up, ready to be connected to the Jeep. Alright guys, the next one's going to be exactly the same. Just for extra layer of protection, I'm going to put a layer of electric tape over our splice also. That's it. Shut her off. Okay guys, what we're going to do next, actually I would prefer to mount the base to the bumper first, but because of the position of my winch, I don't have the space to adjust the light while it's mounted. So I don't have that luxury. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the base onto the light first and then the base onto the bumper. One thing I want to point out before I show you how to do that is these lights do come with a adjustable base, so you can adjust them side to side. You have about 5 to 6 inches of slide there. To do that, you'll need a 6mm Allen wrench. Loosen it up, slide it where you want it, your position on your bumper, and then tighten it back down. Now before you put the base on, you want to be sure that you put the 14mm bolt in there, because otherwise once you mount it up you won't be able to get it on. Now to mount the base onto the light, they give you 4 flat washers and 4 10mm bolts. So you'll need either a 10mm socket and or a 10mm wrench to do this. Now because I am mounting this prior to mounting it to the bumper, I am going to do my best to position the light where I would like it to be on the road. I want to point it a little bit down so as it's not pointing up to oncoming traffic into their eyes. I wouldn't appreciate that. Alright guys, next we're going to mount the lights to the bumper. They provide you a 14mm bolt for that, a flat washer, a lock washer, and a 13mm nut goes on that. They will go into your existing holes. Be sure before you cinch them down, and make sure they're pointed in the direction you want them to go. Alright guys, so we got everything mounted up. It's time to plug it back in and see if they work. Be sure that you press your plug in there till it clicks. And don't forget about that little fitting that goes into the wall right there. And probably a little bit later I'll even take some zip ties and secure this a little better. For now, let's just see if they work. Same as the other side. Alright guys, well, they're looking pretty good. Probably what I'll do is I'll try to get a shot of this at night. I'll also try to do a little adjustment on it at night just to make sure we don't have it into the oncoming traffic's eyes. We want it on the road where to help us see, not in their eyes, right? Alright guys, that does it for replacing those old worn out fog lights on my TJ with some nice new LED lights. Again, I did buy those on Amazon. I got them for less than $25. It's an inexpensive upgrade. I hope they perform nicely. Probably in the future I'll be doing a review on those lights just to let everybody know how well they do perform. On a side note, I would like to say that the mounting hardware, particularly the nut and bolt that mount the hardware down to the bumper, is made from a very cheap soft metal. While trying to install these, I did strip the bolt out while only trying to tighten them down enough to get the light where it would stop moving. I do recommend you toss those out when you start. Go to a hardware store, get you a grade 5/16 diameter bolt. They should work nicely for you and save you a lot of trouble. If this video helped you out, please like it, share with your friends, subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or have any suggestions of future videos you'd like me to do, feel free to shoot them to me in an email at jeepersoutpost@gmail.com. Thank you for showing up and watching my video. Keep on jeeping.